cash flow and budget with SAP Business One. And I'm going to transfer this to Yannick. Here you go, Yannick. It's all yours. Whoops.
Yes, okay.
You got it? Okay, good.
You see my screen?
No, I see mine.
Okay. Okay.
Hang on a second here. Okay, so now it's my screen that's showing. Okay. I'll transfer you again. Okay, hang on a sec here.
Yeah, maybe.
Make present. Whoops, that was my mistake. Okay, Yannick, there we go. Make presenter. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
okay, good. All right, thanks.
No, that was not my SAP. The other one was okay. I was linked to a customer.
Okay.
So, no, this is mine. So good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, just there's some quite interesting tool with SAP that you see. I didn't see a lot of customers using them. I've seen everybody are using the aging report, which is it's pretty common. So to see what's coming, which should come in, and what you have to pay to your suppliers. So the aging report, it's one of the tools to manage the cash flow in a certain way. But there's two other things that could be interesting also. It's one, it's called the cash flow report. The cash flow report, it gives an image, or it gives an idea of what will be the incoming payment, or all the cash we will receive for a period of time, and everything that will go out, everything that we'll have to pay to our supplier or someone else, everything that is recorded in SAP. So this report, it's available through the financial menu, financial report, and inside the financial, it's within the normal balance sheet, trial balance, all the financial report. It's called the cash flow. It's not the statement of cash flow, it's the cash flow report. Cash flow reports, when you open it, it gives you the first screen. It's all the criteria that we have to select in order to get what we would like to see. So first thing, we have to select period of dates. So the dates here it's to tell to the system all the transaction within that date. Would like them to be to see what it's the effect on my cash flow. I put 2016. I always mention, you see on the demo database SAP. They are not. They are all old transactions, so I don't have enough transaction in 2019 to give a good idea. So I took 2016. But you select the period, and here the way it works, it's the SAP will calculate based on the due date. For example, the payables and the receivable is based on the due date, which is linked to the terms attached to every invoice recorded. So this is the way it's calculating. It's really based on what is supposed to when we are supposed to receive, or when we are supposed to pay suppliers. You have to select the time interval. So that report we can see by day, by week, by month, by quarter, by annually or semi-annually. So it's up to you to select which time frame, or which you see the ending balance you would like to track. We can add, you see, add or remove transaction, specific transactions. So like voucher. There's not a lot of customer using the voucher system, but it says we basically you see pending journal entries, recurring posting, consider delay in payment. This morning in the French version, I forgot to mention that, but the delay payment, it's something that maybe people they don't know what the use of that. But if you go into business partner, we can specify. You see, based on the historical data of it's not a field that it's calculated automatically. It's something that we have to enter manually, but it's always possible to create a query for that. The payment term here in the accounting, in the customer right now. Okay. We have a delay field inside this. I think it's in the vendor. So it's in the vendor. So based on my historical data, we can specify by example. So the average delay normally is 60 days. So I can take that in consideration into my cash report. So this is something we can select or unselect. It's only for payment, and by the way, it's not for customers. For full reconciled posting, we don't really need normally to see if it's reconciled or it's reconciled. We don't want to see these transactions. We can add blanket agreement. We can add or remove various document. So we can even include the sales order. So we calculate. It will calculate based on the terms attached to the sales order. You see the date of payment. So, but this is the level of certainties. It's way less than the invoice. So so it's always a risk. You may need to put something that it's not really real in the system. So, but it's always an option to add or to remove transaction. The document draft also, we can add the document draft. So it could be a pending transaction for any reason. We save that as a draft, but eventually it will turn into a real transaction. So we can add these transactions, a recurring transaction also. It could be we can add any recurring transaction. By example, if you have you see a recorded recurring transaction for the rent, by example, so you can take that in consideration. There's no payable already created, but there's a transaction that will come every month, so we can take these transaction also to visualize our cash flow in the future. Here it's the selection of you see by default when we go into the GL account, every account that it's identified as a cash account will automatically appear into that report. We can select, unselect it if we would just want to focus on one specific account, by example, just the US, or just we don't need to select them all if you don't need the credit card. If there's credit card set up on your system, you can say we will see all the credit card settled. So the check here, it's when we do a deposit, when we do an incoming payment, he record all the incoming payment into a clearing account, waiting to be transferred into the bank account through a deposit. But if there's anything pending into that lease clearing account, they will appear here. Eventually they will be into the bank account. And business partner, we can select also to focus on a group of customer or a group of vendor, just to see what will be the effect on the cash flow on some specific customer or group group of customer, group of vendor, or just one specific one. If you have a huge customer that there's tons of transaction and you would like to see the effect in the future, we can just select this one. And, it's all the filter that we can enter into that cash flow report. Here also the opening balance. The opening balance, we can put that, we can enter it manually, but there's not any could be a specific reason for that, but most of the time we'll leave the system to calculate the opening balance by itself. It's good to know that, you see, because I have selected the 1st of January 2016, if an invoice was supposed to be due in December 15, it will appear as receivable in the opening balance. So because the due date it was before January 1st, the amount will appear in the opening balance, saying that, say, okay, you have let's say, we'll see in my report, but there's amounts that they were supposed to be due in January, and they were not received. So we can select by project if there's any need. The blanket agreement also, we can just focus on some blanket agreement if we have. It makes sense if we have selected one specific business partner and we want to see the effect if the blanket agreement attached to this account. The bottom part here, it's everything that needs to be entered manually. It means that, you see, there's no real transaction. The transaction, it's not already recorded in SAP. So by example, September 30th, I'm planning to buy, or there's a car that we will have to pay, or there's an amount to pay. It could be also an incoming payment coming from a bank loan or things like this. But if there's any transaction that it's not recorded, but you know in advance, we can also enter it here manually. We can enter as many as we want, and it will appear into my report. We have to specify the security level. We'll see in the next screen when we run the report. But the security level, it just means that, you see, it's the probability of the transaction will turn into cash, or will go out from that bank account. So it's in order. So cash, it's for sure the security level. It's 100%. Credit note, checks, customer liability, and when we go down into forecast, for sure the level of security, it's way less. But sometimes it could be interesting just to see way in advance, you see, if we meet the forecast, what will be the effect on my cash flow. So it could be good for many reasons. And we can specify also for every transaction like this a period, recurrence period. Also, if it's a transaction, if I buy a car every month, and I can put monthly, and we'll see. And then we can specify the day, and it's valid until it's like setting a recurring transaction, like you might know into other sections. So if I run this, so he's telling me, you see, so my opening balance right now, it's minus 2 million. And then after that, month after month, it gives me the incoming and outgoing payments. And here at the end, I've got my balance of my bank situation at the end of each and every month. I can decide just to focus on, let's say, Customer liability, it's the receivables. If I remove the vendor, all these things, so for sure they will disappear on the system. So if I had debt to vendor, all the payment to supplier will be calculated. So I have the option to add or to remove the level of security that we see at the top here. So then after that, if I want to see more details, so by example, you see in September, if I click on this one, you see it gives the cash flow variation by security level. So here I got only cash, but you see my security level, the debt to vendor. He had my manual entry of 30,000 for the car that I'm planning to buy in September. So on every, so if I expand them all, so we can see in details each and every transaction that affects the cash flow on a monthly basis. Even the opening balance, you see the opening balance, it's all these elements. I can see the customer liability. So basically, this is the 73,000 here. It's as of 1st of January 1st. That was supposed to be in my bank account. So it's really late. So I'm not maintaining my system too often. So that's normal. But normally we don't want to see that. Security level checks, so it's all outstanding deposit that it's not in my bank account so far. So it's all things, each and every month I can see the detail of what it's summarized into my report right now. So the security level view, debt to vendor, I click on the small arrow, and I can see all the vendor invoice that I have to pay, what affects my cash flow. This is all this invoice that I have to pay in March. So this is an interesting tool that I didn't see a lot of customers using it, but it could be quite interesting to have to quickly have an overall look of what will be my cash flow situation at the end of any period that I need to focus.
Yeah, that's interesting. Does anybody have any questions on this report that Yannick just showed us? You can either just unmute yourself or use the chat box if you have any. If not, we'll just keep on going to the next one. We're good. All right. C'est bon, Yannick.
Okay.
All right.
Good. The other tool that it's not commonly used, but some customers using it, that just it's to manage the past due account for the receivable. So it's good to know that it exists, but you see, we have to do a setup first. It's the business partner, I think, the Dunning terms, Dunning level, Dunning terms,
Dunning wizard.
The Dunning wizard after, but
there was another one you were looking for. Okay.
Yeah, no, we have to specify the Dunning levels first. So just I'll go quickly on this, but you see, just to let people know that exists. You see, the Dunning level, it's in reality you attach a specific letter to the statement. It's basically a statement that you send customer, but with notes and with extra information to tell customer. You say, hey, by the way, you're late and you owe me that amount of money, and it's past due for. So you can I think people that are used to call directly to customer, but there's a possibility also to send statement with a specific note, like what we call the Dunning letter. And here, by example, I have settled you see a different level. So every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 120 days, there's a specific letter attached to it, and we can also specify there's a fee for each letter. It does. It can appear on the statement, but it doesn't necessarily need to be recorded if we don't want to record it, but just to show the statement. We can also specify a minimum balance. So I don't want to send a statement or a dunning letter to someone who owe me $10, for example, and it's past due anyway. But $10, I don't want to spend too much time on that. So we have to tell the system if we can also add the interest or not into the my dunning letters or my reminder. We have to specify the terms attached to a dunning letter. So, by example, here I have just settled a standard one for the 30, 60, 90 days. I can it's here that I settle the fee per letter, or just also just the way we'll calculate the interest. So every times that I have to that I put an interest rate to past due account, I have to specify how it's going to be calculated. And here, automatic posting, I don't need. There's no obligation to record that interest, calculated interest, but it will show up on the statement anyway. Maybe just to give an see, just we'll say customer pay good, but most of the time they won't pay, but it's just to tell them, see. And then I will try not to look for it this time. These two settings are being used into the dunning wizard. So the dunning wizard, we just have to so there's some already exist, but when we create one, we can select also. We can have up to 10 level, but by example, if we remember the level, it's level 1 was 30 days, level 2 60 days, and so on. So if I select only one level, it will just show up everything that it's past due based on that level. The terms, I have only one term, so but we can have different terms for various reasons. We can have different way to calculate the fees or the interest. And if I select them all, I have to select, you see, customer. There's no obligation to select them all. Me, I will do so. And here, okay, so I can select also the posting date, the due date. You see, I can limit my my report on a certain period of transaction. Sorry, I don't know if you hear that sound, but okay. I have to. Someone's calling me. Oh my God. Okay.
They're calling you on link, is it?
Okay. Perfect.
You got it off. Okay.
No, let me just send him. Okay. So sorry. So so this is the criteria. So next. Oh, is that frozen? Then is calculating everything that you see based on my terms. So by example, here I have calculated tell the system to calculate interest on past due account, and then it will give me all the past due accounts, and there's no obligation to select them all. By default, it's select all the customer that they have past due. But just to give you an idea, if I select this one and I don't know if this one was past, it's more than 30 days. So for sure he's calculating interest. And he will send a form like this. So this form can be personalized. This is the default form from for SAP, but he will give you see it's a kind of a statement with the past due, the number of days that it's past due, and how much interest it represents. But that interest of 5,000, it ain't gonna be recorded because I told the system not to record it. But it will show up on the statement anyway. So this is an example of letter. And I click next, and when I click next, I can decide just to save that recommendation, just to the parameter, or just save as a draft, or I can execute and print email later, or I can just decide perfect email or print all the letter, or send them to customer to remind them they have outstanding balance to pay. So this is a tool that it's not commonly used, but you see, depending on the way that you're managing your receivable, it could be interesting to know that it exists in SAP. So this is pretty much the cash flow management into SAP. I don't know if people, if some are having some question.
Yeah, I've got no questions in the chat box.
No?
No, I'm good with that.
Perfect.
So we'll do, did you want to show the budget?
Yeah, we'll switch into the budget. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the budget, I just forgot the dunning letters. If some are interested to use that, business master data. It's good to know. This is also in the payment term here. We have to associate the turning terms. So all on my system it's standard, but if we have different terms for dunning letters, we can attach the specific one to each business partner to make sure that is sending the right letter.
You'd put an add new and just call it a dunning letter with the title kind of thing?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly. Okay. If we do add new, it's just it goes back to the settings, and we have to settle, you see, new terms.
Okay.
Okay, so the budget, it's into financial. Okay, first thing before, it's in the administration. We have, because on the new installation, it's not something that it's checked automatically. So into administration, system administration, the company's general settings, there's a tab for budget. And it's not automatically selected. So once it's selected, you will add the different option into the menu. Otherwise, we won't be able to settle any budget or to do anything if we don't do that before. But it's interesting with budget. It could be linked to the transaction to send warnings or to block some transaction if we are over a budget for a specific expenses, for example. It's linked to all the, you see, accounting is journal entries, but purchase order, the good recipe, all these transactions could be linked to block, or just to pop up a warning if we are over a budget, a line of the budget, and and it's handled either by month or by annual. If we pass the budget on a specific month, we'll have a pop-up. But if we select annual, it's on the end. It's gonna be only for the annual amount. So we have that option. We can also, you see, create alerts in any other manner. We don't need to be stuck into this base settings with SAP. We can also create specific query and attach that query to an alert and send email automatically if we are like the one that exists for controlling the margin. If we are not within a certain range, if we pass a budget within, you see, more than 10%, it will send automatically an email through that alert to the manager. So that's if it's not selected, we cannot use these features. So and then after that, into financial, we have this budget setup will appear, and then there's 3 steps to create budget in SAP. First, we have to specify a scenario. Okay, so for example, I have one in 2017, but then you see we can create that. By example, here we have at least to create one scenario, which is the main budget, the most realistic one. But we can create as many as we want. We can create an optimistic budget based on the main budget, but 10% increase. We can create a pessimistic. We can do whatever we want. We can create one for the bank, one for a government, whatever. So we can create. You see, there's a lot of lines. We select the rounding method. We don't need to be a budget. It's not necessarily to be at the cent level. And if you're using branch or you see this is a project, you see we can specify also for the segment of this is not this is for cost accounting. If we are using cost accounting, you see these the cost element will appear here. So that's I don't have, but I'm not sure if some customer using it. I didn't see a lot of customer using cost accounting. So this is create a scenario. It's easy. You just have to right click, add row, and I can create a pessimist. And it's based on 2017. And let's say it's 95%. And I want it to round it to the so when we have created the scenario, then after that we the distribution method. Normally it's not it's permanent, so we don't need to revise the method every year. But on the sales, by example, on the sales, I don't know if I have. I think I have probably one sales. Well, what I do, well, that's strange. Yeah, okay, that's okay. We can use a factor at kind of a percentage, but doesn't necessarily need to be like this. I can enter my amount of sales and split my sales over the 12-month period, and the system will calculate a ratio. So it's not really a percentage; it's always a ratio. So it's 6 divided by 100. I can put it's just that the number, the total here needs to be the same as this one. So, but I can under 120 and put. You see, if I do that, it won't accept. I have an error message, but let's say I put 28 here. then I've got my two numbers. So it could be my real amount of sales, and it will just calculate a pro rata of on each month. It could be for any. So normally we have one for sales, one it's split equally over the 12-month period. It could be based on purchasing. It could be you know better than me what is your best distribution method. So, but we have to create a distribution method for to then after that enter the amount of each GL account. So, which is the next step. If we go in the budget, we have to select which one we want to work. We can work on the optimistic if I want. And then what it's doing is automatically, because I have already entered the amount into my main budget, automatically he took the main budget and he multiplied by 110%, and he returns the amount into my debit and credit column here. So it's by GL account. When it's done, I don't need to see all the account. I can just select the one that I have budget something. If I'm using cost accounting, I will see all my rules and attached to the cost accounting. Often it's my dimension range. And then what is could be also used, by example, cost of goods sold. The cost of goods sold. You see, we can enter an amount here, but it could be also we can enter a percentage of my sales. Let's see, 65%. I put minus 65 because behind SAP credit it's a minus, so minus is a plus. So minus 65%. Based on my sales amount, it will automatically calculate. So if I change my sales here, it will automatically recalculate my. So it's just maybe to avoid to enter everything manually when we know that some expense could be expenses, it could be commission, things like this. Sometimes it's based on percentage of sales, so it could be interesting just to do that instead of having to enter the amount or calculate the amount. So I click update. I think yeah, okay. I think there's a setting on my system. So this is the way to enter the. This is the way to enter the budget directly into SAP. Some customer this morning, they asked if it could be uploaded because it could be quite long to enter the amount GL account by GL account. I know that most of people, they are using Excel to build their budget, and then after that, if we want these numbers to be entered into SAP, it could be uploaded through Excel templates. So I don't know if you, some people, they have worked with DTW, that data transfer workbench, the tool that transfer information from Excel template to SAP. It works fine. It could be, we can enter the full amount, and he will calculate, he will split the amount over the 12 months period based on the method that we have selected here. But you see, didn't see here, but we can define, you see there's always the option to enter manually. So manually, it means that I will have to enter them one by one here.
I just want to point something out, Yannick, if anybody was looking for, we do have a video with Mike Taylor, one of our consultants that's in Vancouver. He has a video out that's shows you how to work with the data transfer workbench. So if anybody needs it, just know that I have it. You just have to send me an email.
Yeah. So this is that's the way to for example, if I select here manual, open calculator. So this is so we have to enter it one by one. Here, when I select manual, it will give me you see. So I have to tell the system what is the amount, but I have to enter manually. It ain't gonna be calculated by any distribution method. See, if we are uploading the information from an Excel spreadsheet, it could be entered separately, the 12 month. I can enter the 12 months separately and it will show up as, it will use the manual method. It's doing the same thing that what I'm doing right now is entering that it will be considered as a manual entry. But it works fine to do to upload the budget from an Excel template. Then when you have that, then after that you have see this section also will appear when we select the budget process. So it's the budget report. Budget report, it gives everything that we have done so far. I have to select the scenario. I don't know if so if I select my 2017 and execute, it will give me my budget report month by month. If I select my level 5, so I have my annual report here, so I can see where I'm at right now. But you see, it says I have selected the 12 months, but I don't need necessarily to do the 12 months. I can select, you see, just by selecting like this. And select January to January. You can select only August, just November, or a range of months. And I can have that report on annual basis. I can have a monthly basis or by quarter, and if I do it, it will show me the same report from January to July and split by first quarter, second quarter, and so on. Similar report. You have the same. You have the balance sheet also. I think it's my scenario this morning. I did select. So, for example, if I select 2017, same way, take my scenario. And the balance sheet. So this is yeah, okay. Let's see anything. Oh no, that's for sure because I didn't enter. You see, I just entered budget for the sales and just for the profit and loss statement. So that's why nothing show up there. But I can enter amount of budget for my balance sheet if I want. Let's see the profit and loss statement. If I select this one, it will be similar than the budget report. It will look quite similar. 2017. And I have to select the scenario. Why my scenario is not appearing? Okay. Too thick. same thing, annual, quarterly, monthly. I can select if even if it's in balance at 0, it's there. I want to see it. Local system currency. I run it, and it's my balance, my return earning statement, my profit and loss statement by you see on annual basis as of May. My actual, my budget, and the variation in dollar and percentage. So it's the same statement, but the budget column. So that's it. I think here I can select. You see, because I have the cost accounting, I can select. You see some cost center. I didn't complete the setup for it, so. But it's an option if we can select by cost center if it's all configured into your system. What else into the budget? Yeah, it's a pretty much what it is to create a budget in SAP and how to use it. It's interesting just to quickly and being able also to use these budget into my alerts or to block or just to have to manage my expenses. So it could be interesting to have them into SAP for quick for managing my expenses.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, it's quiet.
Nothing in the chat. Yeah, it's Friday. It's before Thanksgiving. That's why. So, well, I do have a question. Yes.
So, if you don't have any budget set up in B1 at all, can you just? I know you're using the different scenario. You were showing you're making changes into the sales and all that stuff. If I don't have any budget, I never use that function there. When I want to create it, do I have to import, like type in every single GL code, like to set up, or can I, like say, import my actual number from 2018 and use it as a starting point?
As I said, that feature doesn't exist to do it automatically, but what it's not really hard to do. It's to extract that information from the existing existing value, or last year, by example. If you extract last year by GL account, it could be transferred into an Excel template and reloaded, adjusted and reloaded into your budget. That's something that could. It's not.
So you can reload from. Okay, so you extract it into Excel and then basically almost import it from Excel.
Yeah.
Like the data.
Yeah. There's no doesn't have the same feature as we have, let's say, by example, into the I think it's into the MRP forecast. The MRP forecast, you can generate forecasts based on historical data. Unfortunately, for the budget, financial budget, we don't have that feature in SAP to do that. The only thing that we have is we can copy a budget from a previous year's scenario. So if you start, if you have already one that exists, so when you create, if you want to create a scenario, you can import a scenario that that already exists.
Well, what I'm saying, if I have never used the budget function before, I'm just using everything live. So if I want to start the budget function from scratch,
we will have to extract and reload the information for the first time. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
But could he though, Yannick, like import his list of GL accounts to Excel and then upload it into the budget?
Yeah, no, it's not really hard to do, because even you can extract your statement. By example, profit and loss statement, you see you can have that on a monthly basis, even on a monthly basis or just the annual value. You drop that into Excel and then it can be re-imported for to create your new year's budget. It's not
okay. I'll give that a try to see what I can do with it. So there is no direct way to extract, say, from 2000. So I had to do export and then import back again.
The only technical point with DTW you need to know exactly the accounting code that exists into the system.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the accounting code. It's not necessarily the GL account number that we see on the interface of SAP. It's the accounting code that it's in the table of SAP.
The accounting code. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want information on the data transfer workbench, though, send me an email and I'll share Mike's video with you. He explains how that one works.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Tracy.
Thanks, Edward. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Nobody else?
The one thing that you see, we just briefly discussed that me and Tracy before the webinar. It's right now I'm using you see what I have in my system is the SQL version, but you need to know that you see there's always some extra feature with the ANA version of SAP, and the cash flow, by example, there's a new feature called cash flow forecast. It's similar to what we have seen. It's just that it's much more visual than it is right now. So you got graphic, you can play with it, and it gives you another way to analyze your cash flow. So it's just to let you know that in the ANA version there's an extra feature for the what they call cash flow forecast.
Yeah, that's it, because most of our customers are on the SQL version. So that's what Yannick was telling us, that we should, just mention it anyway in case we do have people that are on HANA to know that there's that other extra feature. So thanks, Yannick.
It's just more sexy. It's sexier. The tool that it's using in HANA, it's more visual, but at the end it gives the same information. It's just it's a little bit more visual.
Okay.
A lot more visual.
So that's good. Well, if nobody has any other questions, thanks everybody. If you want a copy of the recording, send me an email. I'll share it with you. All the videos are on our YouTube page now, on the Forgestic YouTube page. So I'm going to try and probably have these videos up on Tuesday. So thanks everyone. See you in 2 weeks, and happy long weekend to everyone. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Thanks, Yannick.
Perfect.
Okay, bye guys. Bye.
Okay.